Hey guys, Devall here with another episode of Flea Market Finds, the show on ToyWorldOrder.com where I give you a look at all the stuff I find at the various flea markets, garage sales, auctions, eBay wins, and so much more that I happen to keep contributing to my growing collection. So today's kind of a neat episode. Today is some of the stuff we found, my wife and I, Carrie, if you listen to Married to the Collection on ToyWorldOrder.com. My wife Carrie and I went to Ohio recently in August to the 127 sale, and today I'm going to be showing you some of the stuff that we found at the 127 as well as some other items that we found since then. There's a lot of stuff still yet to show, so be sure to keep checking out ToyWorldOrder.com or subscribe to us on YouTube as well as Blip TV to find out all the latest, greatest stuff from ToyWorldOrder.com. So let's get started with Flea Market Finds. Now, I found some really cool stuff on the 127, and I found some stuff that I don't normally come across. Something very cool. Now, unfortunately, missing all the accessories, all their armor, but I did happen to find the New Adventures releases of He-Man and the Skeletor, and you know, this line gets a lot of hate. People really do not like the New Adventure stuff. The heroes were kind of generic in some sense, but the villains, including Skeletor, were really well done, and the villains are really what people go after is the Space Mutant stuff. That stuff's really cool, and like I said, unfortunately missing all of his accessories, all their weapons and everything, but I keep my eyes open on eBay and on forums from time to time, so if anyone watching out there has some extra accessories that you could send my way, let me know, by all means. I'll pay for them. But very, very cool stuff. Very cool to find just in a box of random like Happy Meal toys were these two Masters figures, which were really awesome. Next up, some awesome Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles inspired stuff. I found the original vintage Fugitoid. Very, very cool figure. Very neat figure I didn't have when it first came out. Unfortunately, again, no accessories, no weapons, but when it comes to turtle figures, there's a lot of this stuff online that you can find weapons-wise to complete your figure. So Fugitoid is going to be added to my growing collection, and I still curse Sween Hollick and Chris Vent for getting me inspired to start hunting down turtle stuff. Not on a regular basis, guys. I'm not being drawn into the insanity yet, but every time I come across some that I don't have, can't talk today. Anything I don't have that I come across at auctions and garage sales, I pick up. One of the other things I found on the 127 was we were driving by a lady's house. I looked over, glanced, saw on her porch a couple of things, and one of the things I found when I was digging through the stuff on her porch was this Movie Star Splinter. Now, of course, it's a reissue. These were the ones that were sold through Dollar Generals, stuff like that. I'm okay with it being a reissue. I don't really mind that much. He's good. This card is all beat to hell. I mean, it's had some water damage. He's going to get opened with his weapons and put on my shelf because I've always wanted a Movie Star Splinter, and I had found one a while back that, again, no accessories, nothing. So I passed on him. Didn't even have his robe. He was just a naked fuzzy Splinter. That kind of creeped me out a little bit. So now I have a clothed fuzzy Splinter, and now I don't feel so creeped out. Masters of the Universe, at least the vintage stuff, is some of the stuff that I've been keeping a better eye out for. I've been trying to find more and more of it, and one of the figures I found was Roboto, which is one of I think the Masters fandom's favorite characters, at least amongst a lot of people. You know, most of it was because he had moving gears in his chest, and his mouth actually moved up and down, which was kind of cool. And the fact that they had built him in such a way that, you know, he actually still had the posability of the classic Masters figures with the turning head and the arms and the legs and everything. Only had one of his weapons, and I've seen some auctions for some other weapons for these. One of these days I'll get the rest of his weapons to complete Roboto out, but for now, Roboto is going to join the company of my vintage Masters figures that I'm starting to find more and more of. Okay, on to the stuffed animals front. Now, I've made it pretty clear that my collection is really eclectic. I collect pretty much anything licensed characters from the 80s, whether it be toys, board games, books, stuffed animals, movie posters, everything. I've got all kinds of stuff licensed wise. And one of the things I found was Hoppopotamus from the Wuzzles, which was a Disney animated show in the early 80s. Hoppopotamus will join I have Bumble Lion and Butterbear from that line, as well as the sea lion, and I can't remember the sea lion's name, but she will join my growing collection of Wuzzles characters. Eventually here soon I'll have all the stuffed Wuzzles they released, but it was a neat stuffed little line. They made some stuffed figures as well as some articulated little plastic figures, which were kind of neat, and didn't last long. But Wuzzles is one of those lines that people don't remember until they see it and they go, ooh, Wuzzles. Popples was a line that has come back quite a few times now in different iterations, and one of the things I found was the awesome Sports Popple figure, which very colorful, very neat. I always loved the Popples. They were kind of geared towards girls at first, and then they started doing sports stuff to kind of get boys to buy them. And the great thing about this sports one is that with some effort, you can actually turn him inside out, and he becomes a stuffed basketball. Very cool, very neat. Popples were one of those lines that is very fondly remembered by kids of the 80s, and is one of those lines now that stuffed animals become harder and harder to find with age, or you just stumble upon them in strange areas like I do, and people start grabbing them up. Stuffed animals are kind of a fun thing to get into collecting. Now they take up a lot of room, but they are really cool. A lot of times you'll find them very dirty. They are pretty easy to clean for the most part. I found a lot of puppets and stuff that are on a hard plastic thing. I could just cut their fur off of them, throw it in the wash them, and then put them all back together. So, but then you got to know how to sew, and unfortunately I do know how to sew. But Popples, great line that is very fondly remembered. Recently, Carrie and I went to an auction after she told me not to buy anything for 30 days, which listen to Married to the Collection, the podcast on toyworldorder.com to get all those details. But she found an auction and we went to it, and I did manage to purchase a few things from that auction, some board games, and one really cool toy that we missed looking through the stuff in the auction, and the auctioneer started to bring it up to the front to sell it, and as soon as I saw the logo, I went, I know what that is. I'm bidding on it. And luckily, nobody else cared, so I got away with it for $7.50, and then when I got home and opened it up, there was some really cool stuff in there, and that is the Get-Along Gang Clubhouse Caboose. Now, there was one small piece that was missing off the caboose, and it was the little button that makes the seesaw in here go up and down, but it is in great shape. The graphics are in great shape, the stickers, and it came with a bunch of figures that were sold separately, which is awesome. It came with tons and tons of these figures. It came with a couple little wind-up boxcar racers. This was a great buy for $7.50. The Get-Along Gang stuff, again, is another line that people don't remember it, and then they see it and go, I remember the Get-Along Gang. Very cool line, and this is something that's going to be proudly displayed in my collection. I'm into finding a lot of periodicals. I almost said periodicals, and that would have been really goofy. But periodicals, some of the stuff, licensed stuff, is really cool to find. You know, there were G.I. Joe magazines and Transformers, and there was a GoBots magazine and Masters of the Universe. You know, tons and tons of She-Ra, Princess Power, tons of magazines. But these actually come from the late 60s, early 70s, and they were free with the purchase of Downey or Comet, and they're these great Disney magazines, which are very cool. Some great graphics in here, some great articles, some great stuff. One of these actually has a story by Groucho Marx in it, which is kind of cool. A lot of great comics are in here. I mean, just the artwork in these alone was well worth picking up. And I think we managed to walk away from a antique store for, I think we paid less than maybe $2 a piece on these. And again, very cool. And some of the puzzles, like some of the connect dots have been done, but really great shape, really cool, and something you just don't see. And this is one of the things I tell people. A lot of people go to antique stores and they never find anything, and I always tell people after I've heard that, I find stuff every antique store I go to, and you have to be patient. You have to be willing to dig through the different antique booths to find this stuff, because a lot of times what may look like just antique furniture and stuff like that, there's actually a little chunk of stuff that you dig through. You'll find stuff, coloring books, magazines. I find toys in those old antique stuff. People don't know what they have. They throw them in a bucket for $1. Come away with a lot of great stuff. So anytime you go to antique stores, dig through the piles of stuff take the time and dig, you will find some awesome, awesome stuff. And my next item is a good example of that. This was another thing that we dug, buried at the bottom of a stack of Life magazines, was this awesome Disneyland Pictorial Souvenir book. And this is actually one of the earliest ones, as the fact that there's just a lot of stuff. This was before and during the construction of Haunted Mansion, the Matterhorn. So this book was actually released shortly after Disneyland opened for business, probably within a few years of Disneyland being open. This has some amazing pictures of days gone by, of the park, of stuff that no longer exists in the park, amazing pictures of Walt himself in the park. This, again, at the bottom of a stack of Life magazines for $2, because they didn't know what exactly they had. It just said all magazines $2, and we walked away with this, and I've seen these go on eBay for upwards of $20, $30. This, again, dig through antique booths. Dig. You will find cool stuff, trust me. We went to a little Animal Protection League garage sale. They have them around here. They have them in a lot of cities. Usually the local APL will hold like a fundraising garage sale where they just take donated stuff and then turn around and sell it, and all the money goes to the APL and whatnot. And one of the things I found, I was digging through some record bins, and I found, that's right, the soundtrack to Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall's Popeye movie. Now, this movie's not well loved, which is funny because it was directed by Robert Altman, who, you know, great director, now passed. This is awesome because not only was it a Paramount Pictures, it's also a Walt Disney Productions, which is very, very cool. And the songs on this old album are spectacular. And for those of you too young to know what a record is, even though they're coming back, I still have people go, what are records? And it makes me go, damn it, I'm old. That, my friends, is a record. And still, audiophiles will tell you some of the most natural sounds in the world when you play it through a record rather than digital or through a CD. So Popeye was a great movie. I loved this movie when I was a kid. I always thought Robin Williams' Popeye was excellent. And again, the music in this is awesome. If you have not heard this, you need to listen to Blow Me Down, because it is an awesome song. And every time I watch this movie, I get giddy when that song comes up. I know it's weird, but great movie, great soundtrack on vinyl. All right, we're going to end the show here with a number of board games that I found. Now, this one's very, very cool. This one was made, I want to say it was 1979. Let's see if I'm right. 1977. I was so close. This was done the year I was born, and for those of you who don't do the math, I'm 35. I'm freaking old. 1977, Mattel released this awesome Slime Monster game. This game is great. Unfortunately, the slime has long dried up, but the container for the slime, which is always missing from all the eBay auctions that I've seen for this game and everything else, are always gone. This one is complete. Everything is here. The slime monster is complete. All the figures, the spinner, the board, everything. This game is spectacular, and one of those very, very cool old board games that they just don't make like this anymore. A very unique concept, very cool, very, very fun board game. And now from the slime one, we go back 1 year to 1976, and you come across Fonzie's real cool game, Happy Days. This is a very unique, very interesting board game, and it's something I've seen at antique malls a lot of times that are incomplete. And this one actually came from an auction where the collector had basically collected complete board games, and I got sold this very cool stack of board games, and the Happy Days game was one of them in there. Very, very cool game based on a great, great television series with some very unique gameplay. Very fun. Next up from Milton Bradley from 1982 is a very unique, very interesting board game called Conspiracy. And this game was pretty cool. The object of the game was to bring a locked briefcase full of top secret information to your assigned intelligence headquarters before your opponents. And that was very, very cool. Had some great, great plastic heads of all the spies and everything that were two-sided, because get it, spies are two-faced. It's a neat little thing. Very interesting, very, very interesting concept for board game, and well worth investing in, especially if they're all there, because then not only can you still play these old board games, they make great, great, great conversation pieces, and in some cases, great display pieces. Based on the classic John Hughes movie, Home Alone the game. Yes, that's right. I said Home Alone the Game, made by THQ. Very odd. Another very interesting, very cool, kind of fun little game. Very cool, very interesting concept. Again, another one I haven't got to play, but when I do, I'm sure you'll hear about it because I'm sure it's going to be awful. But board games are board games, and they're all really cool in their own way, right? No. Moving on. Last but not least, to wrap us up on this episode of Flea Market Finds, is the very awesome, very cool Voyage of Fear, based on The Black Hole, the classic 70s Disney film from 1979, the live-action film, which was kind of Disney's way to trying to, I don't know, scoop in on the Star Wars insanity that was still going on by that point. Not a great movie, wasn't well received. It's kind of become a cult classic in its own right, but a very, very cool little board game. I have a different version of this that's not the Voyage of Fear, but it's another Black Hole board game, which is immense. One of these days I'll drag it down and show you. But this one's really cool. I found an antique mall for $250. It was all there. And just, again, why not? $250. It's a licensed board game. It's based on a film. I'm going to take it home and add it to my collection. So there you go, gang. That wraps up this episode of Flea Market Finds. I hope you enjoyed a look at some of the stuff that I've come across and some of the stuff I found. Now, like I said, I've got a lot of great stuff for you, and there's always stuff being added. So as time goes on and I get time to make these episodes, I will continue to make them for you right here on ToyWorldOrder.com, as well as on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you follow me at Puppet Devall on Twitter, because you never know where I might be tweeting pictures of awesome stuff. So check me out there. Check us out on ToyWorldOrder.com. Join the forums. It's absolutely free. Check out the podcasts and all the other great stuff. And until next time, gang, this is Devall telling you, keep playing with your toys. Or actually, no. I'm going to save the keep playing with your toys, and I'm going to tell you, keep digging, because you're going to find gold. Until next time, guys.